Good people, hello, welcome to a special episode of What We Talk About. Again, it is me, Aaron T. Montgomery, and T stands for The Mandalorian. My guy over there, my friend, my compadre, introduce yourself.
My name is Lando Calrissian. Let's do this.
Drink Coke 45. Billy D kills that role. So Donnie, we're doing this one because we love The Mandalorian. We love it. It is to be loved. It needs to be loved. Talk to me about it.
We've already had an episode about it. Just again, this will, you know what? They're going to be spoilers. If you have not seen the last two episodes of The Mandalorian, this is being recorded on December 5th. If you haven't seen the last two episodes, which will be 7 and 8, or 6 and 7,
6 and
5 and 6, 5 and 6, 5 and 6. Okay, whatever. 6 and 7, whatever. If you have not seen that, don't watch this. Here's your chance to get out. Don't watch it. If the last thing you saw was Ahsoka Tano, don't watch this. All right. Yep, I did. Sorry. So here we go. Here's how I feel about it. It has done everything that the 11-year-old me, the 5-year-old me, the 3-year-old me, and the 43-year-old me has ever wanted from Star Wars.
Gracious, how old are you?
I went backwards first. Come on. I mean, Aaron, did you ever think we get a chance? We'll start with the one with Ahsoka finally being live action. I know. Let me ask you first. How do you feel about Ahsoka? Where does she rank on your favorite characters of Star Wars?
My love for Ahsoka comes from you, to be honest with you. You were talking to me about her before I was really into watching her on the cartoons. The Clone Wars and Rebels. I still have not watched Star Wars Rebels yet, which I'm hearing is much more about her than Clone Wars is, because the Clone Wars obviously is about the Clone Wars. You have Obi-Wan, you have Anakin. You see, I would believe that the Clone Wars is more about watching him continue to grow closer to turning into a bad guy.
Flip that. So it is more about her. She's more Clone Wars. There's a segment of her in Rebels that is important, but still, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Either way, I just started watching the Clone Wars. I saw the end of it that just came out last year, which wrapped up her story really, or finished her story with regards to what was going on at the time, especially with Darth Maul and all that. So I can't say that I was really into her, but you were all about it, so that made me pay more attention to her. And coming into this season of The Mandalorian, hearing that she was going to be a part of it, then hearing the choice of actress to play her, I was looking forward to it, and it did not disappoint.
It did not. And for me, surprisingly, Luke Skywalker is not in my top 2 favorite Star Wars characters. It is Anakin Skywalker, not Darth Vader, but Anakin Skywalker, and then right below, barely, is Ahsoka Tano. And it's because of that relationship they had, her decision to walk away from the Jedi Council, just kind of seeing the hypocrisy of it for her. Also, just she's what Anakin could have been. Yes, she has some things she had the right to feel upset about. I don't know if you got to this part in watching about her story, but she was accused of murder and she didn't do it. Jedi Council didn't believe her. And finally, they found out the truth through Anakin. And she was like, you know what? I'm good. So everything doesn't always go right in your life. And she's that personification of, okay, it doesn't, but you can still be a good person. Whereas Anakin's the opposite, where he just gives in to everything. So to see her in live action by Rosario Dawson, who played her perfectly, even to the stance she takes with her, because she carries 2 lightsabers. One's a little bit shorter than the other, almost like windshield wipers, makes sense. And just the way she carried it, the sound effects, Aaron. I think when I saw, and I don't love this movie now, but when I saw The Rise of Skywalker, the beginning scenes where Kylo Ren is walking through, not Dagobah, where was he at? What planet? Goodness. Where Darth Vader turned into Darth Vader.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it either.
Literally went blank. We're tired.
Real fans.
It'll come back. It'll come back to us. But when he's walking through that planet and cutting down everything, I remember being in a theater with surround sound going like, man, this sounds fantastic for his lightsaber. That's how this one started. I mean, she turns her lightsabers on and I'm immediately like, that sounds phenomenal. Dave, was it Filoni? That's his character. That's his. He took the reins of that character in the Clone Wars, and he brought her to life. And it didn't take away from Mandalorian at all.
Seeing her in the last episode, We saw Moff Gideon with the dark lightsaber. There's a difference in the way they sound, correct?
Correct. The now I'm going blank on everything now. That lightsaber carried by the Mandalorians doesn't. It is a lightsaber, but it doesn't have that same effect when it comes out, because you can see in the episode we'll get to in a second when he displays it again. The dark saber doesn't sound the same like a lightsaber. Lightsabers, they both use a kyber crystal. I'm thinking that's correct, but lightsaber sounds significantly different, and hers, the way it was brought to life, fantastic.
Yeah. So they're just doing a great job. Favreau, Filoni, obviously they're directing and producing on some instances, but they're behind this. They're really pushing this series forward, the story of Star Wars forward. They're really carrying, the weight of Star Wars is being carried by a series right now, they're doing a great job with it, because it was at an all-time low after this latest movie was released, and really, it took a back seat to the Marvel universe, which was coming up with Infinity War and Endgame and just killing the box office.
Absolutely.
But now Star Wars has hope again, a new hope. Get back to the original storyline, because they are doing a great job. You can't wait till the next week when the new episode comes out. You spend all week in between time pontificating about what it could be, or where the story is going to go, or where it's going to end up. So now people are talking about we might get Luke by the end of this.
Let me tell you something.
He might show up.
And let me go back, because we cannot have this show and get this wrong. Mustafar is the planet I'm thinking of. Darth Vader's planet, where he made that transition there. The story of the episode was great. Her connecting with another big part of this. So tired of that creature being called Baby Yoda the entire time. It became a pop phenomenon. Finally has a name that I think, just hearing from a few friends who are non-Star Wars fans but like this series, they don't like the name Grogu. I think Star Wars fans, it's whatever. I mean, they're all weird names that fits the Star Wars thing. It wasn't about being cute and cuddly like the Ewoks. But Grogu fits. Just seeing him call his name, his reaction to it, almost like a puppy. The story that he was in that they've added to this, that he's there in the Jedi Temple. He was there for the entire thing that went down with Anakin and the 501st Cavalry that comes in there, takes out all the Jedis. That's a cool storyline. Who hid him? There's a lot of different guessing out there. I love that. I love that they, again, the way they do it is the way the movies, the last three, should have been done, where you don't have to show a lightsaber or you don't have to show a Skywalker. Reference it. That's all we're asking. Act like it was a part of history. And I love that moment. I love the interaction between him and the Mandalorian. Let me ask you this. Do you feel like Ahsoka's presence took away from it being about the Mandalorian?
No, because he was right there next to her. Like, him looking for a Jedi was the story. He finds a former Jedi, so it fit. What I think I like the most about especially this season more than last season, he doesn't seem to be some sort of all powerful, just butt kicking guy throughout the universe. He's not. So we drop the name now. He's not Boba Fett. Boba Fett did have that moniker. He did have that the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy, and the fact that he showed up in this last episode was phenomenal. And he had a period to show you why he was that guy. The Mandalorian, you might have thought or felt that way about him last year, but he had help in surviving certain instances last year from Baby Yoda in one time, losing to the Rhino. At the end of the season, he has the guild leader. I forgot his name.
Right. Go ahead. I know what you're talking about.
But him and old girl, they help him, and the droid to get out of a sticky situation. Now
Apollo Creed,
yeah. This season, he has to get saved by a small group of other Mandalorians at one point.
Yep. Pause there. That right there, and don't lose your thought. I like where you're going, but just to acknowledge the presence of Bo-Katan, again, a major player in the Clone Wars and Rebels, and giving that history, because Mandalore, the great thing about Star Wars, if you're a real fan, you can almost, if you're on the surface, you go, is it always about the Skywalkers? No, there's a whole history of this planet, of Mandalore, where you have these different factions of these Mandalorians that believe in different things for religious reasons or whatnot. Just to, again, introduce that. I love it. It's in the cartoons, it's in the books, but they brought it here just a taste and they pulled it back. But we know that that might come back. So I love that they are acknowledging these different parts of the universe. But go ahead, continue your thought.
Right. To finish my thought, it was just the fact that he's had help throughout the season. You know, from the Mandalorians to X-Wing fighters coming to save him from a giant spider to now, you know, at the end, Ahsoka comes, she helps him out. She doesn't save him, but she's helping him out in one show. This last show, he's basically saved from the stormtrooper attack that would have happened by Boba Fett and the assassin that was with him. So he's not all powerful. He's you know, a great fighter, a great gunslinger in this Western world that they're creating, but he has help, which I think adds to normalizing him to being more relatable in many ways. And I think the draw to Mandalore, as you were saying, is, you know, hearing, just being, even if you were just dabbling in the Star Wars world, you knew that you had heard of the Mandalorians because of Boba Fett, and you heard that at one point in time, sometime in the way past, they battled with the Jedi. They went head to head with Jedi, and they're still here. So, you know, they stood toe to toe with what we thought were the greatest fighters or warriors or whatever you want to call the Jedi in the galaxy. They went toe to toe with them and are still around to talk about it.
And I think again, what you brought up there, and I don't want to go too far, but I might. This is a great episode. I'm excited about it. I love being excited about something that I like. And to see, like you said, how powerful the Mandalorians were. You got Bo-Katan in that episode before this one, I think. And you see how she comes in and her crew, they had no problem with what Din Djarin was dealing with. He's a Mandalorian by, like, you know, they brought him in, but he wasn't there during the Clone Wars. He wasn't actually out there doing things. So you see the difference in level of talent and level of skill. And you saw that in the ending episode, one of the last two of Clone Wars, the cartoon. I love this thing. The Mandalorians actually created like this little box, almost like a floating tomb, that you weren't in carbonite, but you could put a Jedi there and it totally silenced their powers. Pretty cool thing. I love it, but whatever. So that was that episode. Ahsoka Tano, for fans of her, it was a beautiful thing. I hope they do a spinoff on her. I hope she comes back towards the end. But this show is so great, she doesn't have to, and I still feel satisfied.
Well, just think about the different ways they can branch off from this one story. You could do a whole series on the history of Grogu. Like I'm looking forward to hopefully having some sort of flashbacks like the Mandalorian did in the first season. He flashback to when he became a foundling, how he was saved. It was very brief, repetitive, some sort. You got a little bit more each time. I would take something like that just to know a little bit more about what Grogu did when he was at the Jedi Academy. You could branch off to Ahsoka. Also, I wanted to bring out the fact that the amount of I won't call them secrets, but unknown aspects of coming into the season. Like we heard about Ahsoka being in the season, right? I don't remember hearing a lot about Bo-Katan possibly being in the season. And when the trailer was dropped, you had the one who we got to see once the episode dropped. She was a Mandalorian as well. But she was known because she's in real life a WWE fighter. So it was like, oh, who is this? Who could she be? All this. Nobody talked about Bo-Katan. And when an episode shows up, she's just in the background. She's fighting alongside this leader. Boba Fett. I mean, we all thought eventually he might be brought in, but I don't think anybody was really thinking it was going to happen this season. I don't remember hearing a lot about that coming into
we saw him.
About Ahsoka.
We saw his armor. We saw his man, I go blank on these shows. But we saw his armor, and then we go see him walking on Tatooine. And I think, to be honest, I was satisfied. I was like, okay, cool. It tells people that don't know that he survived Return of the Jedi. He didn't die there. He's still that guy. And I was fine. But to see him, and side point, the girl you're talking about, the WWE character, they're going to probably bring her back simply because she's also a character, not a major player, but she's side by side with Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars. She's like her right-hand person. So she survived a lot of things. Now, how did you feel? This is on Saturday, again, the day after the release of the last episode. When you saw Slave One, that ship, Boba's ship, come out of the clouds, what were your thoughts?
So I wake up early on Friday so I can watch the episode before I go to work. So I don't want to be at work all day and come across something about it. I don't want it ruined for me. But, so I'm kind of groggy when I first turn it on. But as soon as I see Slave One, I'm up. I jump up on my bed. I'm hoping that this is who I think it is. Yes, it's a ship. but maybe they do something weird with it. No,
Right.
they show you the ship. It's him. He comes out and it's him. It's instantly him. He wants his armor. Boom. What they start fighting. He goes, and once he puts on his armor, it's just the greatest.
It shows the level. His Beskar definitely has been through a lot, and the history behind it, I did not know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in the comic book somewhere that I don't know about. But to see him go like Jango Fett, who we saw in Attack of the Clones, to see him, and he passed away. Well, he didn't pass away; he was taken away. To see him say that this is the same armor that was given to his father, and he just repainted it and everything like that. I'm thinking that was originally his, but no, it has a history. He pulls up like a manifest, almost like, well, here's where it came from. Here's this, that, and the third. And Din Djarin's like, okay, well, you're all in. The respect they have for the Beskar, and for that, I do love that. I forget the assassin's name who was with him. She did not die in the first season, which I didn't think she would. I'm glad to see her back. And I like that they have this honor code now. It's like Boba, for some reason, George Lucas in the original series painted him as a part of the Empire. It was like even though he was a bounty hunter, we all thought of him as having this personal vendetta against Luke and everybody. And really, Return of the Jedi, that's wrong. He wouldn't have really had any dog in the fight to save Jabba or go after Han, because he got his money, he was good. And I like how they showed him here, where he's like, I'm a man. What he said, the same line his dad said.
Just trying to follow our way through the universe.
Which is a quote from his father, Jango Fett, which is the same actor, in Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones. Again, these guys nail everything. And just to say, okay, he's just a bounty hunter. It's not personal. And it also, there's a respect, there's a code, honor code. He's going to go help you find the kid. So, and I love that.
Being people of honor and having these, honor codes. Like, I'm starting to get more into the books, especially when there's a trilogy of books. They talk a lot about, like, Chewie has a honor code.
Yes.
Like, that's why he stuck with Luke and Leia for so long, because
yes.
And Han as well. And there are other species that you run into, especially in the books, that have the same code of honor. But it's all about a creed of some sort. Even the Jedi have a creed. The Sith have a creed. The Wookiees, the Mandalorian. Like, people have a way of a culture that they come from, that they stick to and have continually stuck to throughout the history of the universe at some levels. But I'm just looking forward to see how they wrap the season up. They have to have bigger and bigger cliffhangers in store. I'm hoping Luke. They already talked about Grand Admiral Thrawn, whose books I'm reading right now. That is incredible. You have Moff Gideon. You haven't seen him actually fight yet, but to see what he's able to do with a lightsaber besides just turn it on and off will be incredible. So I'm looking forward. I'm ready for all that. It's impressing me every week.
And if you don't know all these characters, and if you like the series, just keep watching it. And if you're bored one day, watch the cartoons, Clone Wars and Rebels. You'll see that they highlight all those characters he talked about from Thrawn. Moff Gideon wasn't in it, but a Moff is basically like a governor of a sector that was a part of the Empire. So he's still kind of part of that political system that was there, and he's not giving it up. And they all had a tendency to be kind of jerks, and that's why they were part of the Empire. But you know what? This is a total side point. I thought about it today driving. I literally did. You know why Star Wars is great and why it can be saved? You always said it was just a good story at its core. I thought about that. Remember Return of the Jedi? I watched it the other night again, and when it ends, there's the fireworks. There's the little song. That little song goes on. All that stuff. In most movies, when the bad guys lose, when like the brain of something dies, being the Emperor in this case, all the ships like fall out of the air. No one can function. It's all over. Everything's good. That one guy. That's why Star Wars is good. If you've never watched Star Wars or you're trying to and see why people like me still care about it, it's because it isn't just about Skywalker or Palpatine. He dies, we thought, but there's a whole political storyline, which is what Star Wars is based on. And you got Leia now rebuilding the Republic. You got Luke trying to reorder establish the Jedi Order. That's why we like Star Wars. Yes, we got into it because of Luke Skywalker and laser swords or lightsabers, but as you get older and that doesn't really do the thing for you, and you want something that's a stress relief, as Aaron was talking about, these books, definitely interesting. The only books I come across that have sound effects that sound like you're actually in the movies, but
audiobooks,
oh, phenomenal.
Yeah. All right, Don, let's wrap this up. This is a special episode because we were just too overwhelmed with what was going on.
Overwhelmed.
We'll do another one as the season finale comes. But we love talking about it. So if you do, please subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. Tell us what you like about it, and enjoy the rest of the season.